I thought I caught my wife cheating. So I went to confront the guy. Now he's dead, the police are investigating, and I just found out the truth was nothing like I thought. Hello everyone. It has been a crazy day. So much has happened since my post last night. So I am mainly writing this update to collect all of my thoughts on the matter. I will continue from last night. After my post, I stayed in bed thinking about what had just happened. The image of him lying on the floor motionless in a pool of his blood made me nauseous. But admittedly, it also made me a little bit happy knowing that my wife's cheating partner was gone. I had a small bruise on my face from where he punched me. I put a bandage over it for now and went back to bed. Eventually, my wife came home from work around 3:30 in the morning. She walked into the room and saw that I was awake, so she greeted me. I asked about her day and we chatted a little bit. She saw my bandage and asked what had happened. I made up a story about tripping when I got home. She continued to chat about her day. I was not really paying attention. She threw her phone on the bed and went to brush her teeth before sleeping. Her phone started ringing. When I looked at who was calling, my eyes almost popped out of my head. Gracie was calling. My wife picked up the phone and it sounded like a hysterical woman was shouting at my wife. I could not make out exactly what was said, but all the color left my wife's face. The phone call ended and she, in a very panicked tone, told me to drive her to Gracie's house. I was speechless at first. What does she mean, Gracie's house? I thought Gracie was a man. I thought he was gone. What in the world is happening here? I asked, at Gracie's house? Did something happen? She called and I could not make everything out. But she said something has happened to Paul and she called an ambulance. We need to go over right away, she said as she was getting ready quickly. I thought for a moment and asked, who is Paul? She is Gracie's husband. Once that left her lips, my heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. Gracie is real? She had a husband? Was that the man I accidentally hurt? But if it was, why was she going to her house instead of the gym? My mind was racing. Nevertheless, I composed myself and we started to drive over to her house. My wife gave me directions and we continued to talk on the way. What is happening with Gracie? I asked. When we both got off tonight, she went home and was looking around for Paul. When she walked into the bedroom, she found him lying on the floor. Something she said caught my attention. What do you mean when we both got off tonight? I mean when we both got off our shift tonight. She works at the hospital with me. Wait, since when? I could not hold back my confusion. We have been working together for the past 2 years. I got her a job as a nurse at my hospital after she was fired from her previous hospital. I told you all this before. I should mention that ever since they started going to the gym together, she has not stopped talking about Gracie. She mentions her all the time, and after a while I just started tuning it out. But apparently she was a nurse at another hospital, but lost her job in 2022 and Stacy referred her to her hospital. They worked the same shift together. I do not remember her mentioning that at all, but it is possible she did at some point. So I collected my thoughts and asked, who is Paul again? Paul is Gracie's husband. He is a personal trainer at the gym. I wanted to ask more information without being suspicious, so I thought of what to ask next. Is he your personal trainer? Yes, I told you before. When the gym raised their rates at the end of 2022, Paul offered to be my personal trainer. He does yoga and Zumba classes for me and Gracie together in the mornings. Oh no, what did I just do? He was her personal trainer? For how long? I felt like throwing up. My insides were in knots. I started sweating a lot. When I looked over at Stacy, she was also sweating a lot. She could not stop worrying over what Gracie said. Eventually, we finally arrived at that house. There were no police officers or ambulance yet, but there was a lime green '67 Mustang parked in the driveway again. Stacy ran inside immediately while I slowly walked in. It felt unreal walking into the house. I heard crying in the back of the house and walked towards it. It led to the master bedroom of the house. There I saw Stacy holding a crying woman while also crying herself. She had dark hair, was short, about 5'2", and was also fit like Stacy. This was the first time I had seen her. On the floor beside them was the man from earlier lying in a pool of blood. The lights were on this time, so I had a clearer image of the scene. His head was badly injured, and all the blood was coming from there. His eyes were rolled to the back of his head. Stacy and Gracie were bawling their eyes out. Gracie then spoke through the tears. When I got home from work, I walked into the bedroom and saw him lying there. I checked his pulse, and I did not feel anything, so I called the police. I tried to perform CPR, but there was no response. I was speechless. Gracie was real. She was standing right there. The man on the floor was a personal trainer named Paul. My wife had been going here instead of the gym since it was cheaper. How could I have made such a mistake? What in the world did I just do? I had to excuse myself quickly as I was about to vomit. I ran outside and vomited on the lawn. Then I heard police sirens. The police and ambulance showed up. I pointed them towards the inside of the house. They rushed in with a stretcher. I could not think straight and had trouble standing, so I sat down outside. 5 minutes later, they wheeled him out on the stretcher. His body was covered in a blanket as they put him in the ambulance. Gracie wanted to go to the hospital, but the police wanted to question her first. The police spoke to her, then to Stacy and me. Stacy said we were both at home when Gracie called. The police then went inside to continue their investigation. Stacy said she was going to drive Gracie to the hospital and stay with her for a while. I said okay, and they drove off in Gracie's car. I stayed for a while because I wanted to see what they were discovering. Then I saw a police officer carrying something in a clear bag and handing it to a detective. It was the cameras. In my hurry that night, I completely forgot about the cameras. I grabbed the crowbar in my backpack but left the cameras in their positions. The cameras I bought were designed to record for 14 hours until the batteries died. I had the foresight of removing the serial numbers, but they surely would have caught the incident earlier. I was in trouble. I overheard the police talking, and they mentioned there were signs of a break-in and some muddy footprints from the window. Their current theory is that someone broke in and Paul was hurt while fighting the intruder. They quarantined the area and asked me to leave for now, so I headed home. At this point, it was 5 in the morning. My boss was blowing up my phone, so I called back and said I had to take more time off. I went home and prepared myself for the worst. Eventually, the police will come for me. They will see that I hurt him. They will see that I committed that terrible act. I will be taken to jail sooner or later. I ruined my life over a misunderstanding. How could I do that? Should I turn myself in? Should I tell Stacy? My mind was racing. Stacy came home around 12 in the afternoon. She looked paler than ever. Paul was pronounced dead at the scene. Gracie was in shock. Stacy called Gracie's family, and they came to the hospital to support her. They told Stacy to head home and get some rest. Stacy was speechless when she got home. She fell onto the bed next to me and continued to cry. I comforted her and told her that he is in a better place now. We stayed like that for an hour until her phone started ringing. It was Gracie. They chatted for a bit until she hung up. She slowly turned to me and looked at me and said, "The police contacted Gracie. They came to the conclusion that Paul was the victim of a planned homicide. They have a video of the attacker. He attacked Paul with a crowbar." I was scared. I could not stop shaking. I tried to speak but had trouble getting the words out. I was able to say, "And who did it?" She said quietly, "They do not know yet." Apparently, the videos they obtained from the cameras were not good quality. They show the suspect wearing all black and waiting for Paul in his bedroom. He then starts fighting with Paul once he walked into the room. The lights were out in the room and the video did not have night vision, so the only light source was coming from the hallway when Paul found him. Paul pinned him down but then got hit in the face with a crowbar. When he fell, he hit the side of the bed and suffered a serious injury to his head. He surely passed away on impact. I was kind of relieved. They could not see my face apparently. Maybe I will be okay. Who knows? I am still preparing for the worst, though. I then asked, "So what are they planning on doing?" "They are going to continue to investigate until they catch the suspect." I feel so bad for Gracie. How could they do this to her? She is the sweetest girl in the world. Paul was such a good guy. Who would plan on hurting him? I am heading over to Gracie's house to comfort her. I will be back later, and that is the update for now. My original plan was to ask her to leave after exposing her for infidelity. But if it really was just a misunderstanding, then maybe she was loyal the whole time. Maybe I just started assuming things, whatever. For now, I will pause my plan. I will keep everyone posted. Do I confess everything and risk losing everything or stay silent and hope they never find out? What would you do if you were me?